She's a drag performer, a writer, a singer. She's written books. She writes for other people. What doesn't she do? We'll find out now. Let's talk to Jackie Beat. Jackie, come on in.
I do everything.
That's what I've heard for a price. We're all whores.
Seriously, for a price, I will do anything.
Jackie, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Let's find out, where did you grow up and how did you start becoming a drag queen?
Well, I grew up in Scottsdale, Arizona, and it was a great place to grow up because, if you drive one way, you can go to the mountains and there's snow. And if you drive the other way, there's the desert. And we used to go tubing down the Salt River. Boy, I sound like a real outdoors lady. And we would go to Mexico several times a year. I love Mexico. And so it was a really fun place to grow up until, all of a sudden you're a teenager and everybody's calling you the F word that rhymes with maggot. And so, yeah, I just remember there was a point, I think I was like, it must have been just out of high school. And, I was wearing a vintage suit and a big wool overcoat. It's 120 degrees out. And I'm driving around town on a moped, and somebody was like, have you ever been, why don't you move to Los Angeles? And that's literally all it took. I sold everything and moved to Los Angeles and slept on my friend's couch for a while. And the rest is history. I don't know we haven't talked about when I became a drag queen, though.
So you went to LA, you were sleeping on that person's couch. What were you doing during the day?
We all worked at Embassy Television, which was at Sunset Gower Studios, and they did, they filmed the Golden Girls there, although the Golden Girls wasn't for Embassy. Embassy was like Facts of Life, Silver Spoons, all these horrible shows. But I remember, was it, oh my God, I'm so out of it. It was a long time ago, obviously. Yes. But anyway, I remember, I think Whitney Houston was a special guest on Silver Spoons. If I remember this correctly, it could have been one of the other shows, but she played a pop star named Cinnamon, I think. And I remember we all went to the taping.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what I did during the day. And it was, you got paid next to nothing and you were just supposed to be thrilled to be in show business. And then just, I don't know, slowly but surely, I just, I was writing poetry, like real poetry, and going to open mic nights and doing art and photography and all sorts of sort of serious stuff. And then one Halloween, me and a bunch of friends just did drag, and I sort of did it to a different level than they did. And I just feel like I found my voice.
Yeah. And how long did it take you to create Jackie Beat?
Well, I was going to one of those open mic nights that I went to once a week, and I would always sign up to read my poetry, and they would never get to me. Never. Because it was always the celebrities. Like Robert Downey Jr. and Ali Sheedy. So it was very, that's how Hollywood is. I get it. But I got pissed off one week and I was like, I need to just, sort of rain on their parade or, I don't know, be punk rock and mess with them. So I got in full beatnik drag. So, a black page boy, a black turtleneck, black skirt, black tights, black boots, a black beret. And I wrote this poem that was kind of making fun of the whole thing. And not only would they not let me read my poetry, they wouldn't even let me in the door. So this was
you showed them.
So I went to Rage, the gay bar, which doesn't exist anymore. It's called Heart. And it was open mic night, and I was signing up, and there was a woman with a clipboard, and she was like, "What's your name?" And I didn't have a stage name. So I was thinking of Jack Kerouac and the Beat Poets and just all of that, and Jackie Kennedy and 60s, and and I said, Jackie Beat. And it was literally just, that's how like this name that's been around, over 30 years now came to be.
All right, so that was that first night there at Rage. What
Yeah.
was the reaction of the crowd, and
I
where
won.
did you go from there? You won.
They laughed, and I told them to snap their fingers because clapping was for Scotch drinking capitalist pigs. And, I'm going to leave you face down and drowning in my stream of consciousness. I was really into the beatniks. And the poem was essentially stand-up comedy, but, like I was taking it seriously, and it was about my landlord and, how, he wore a food-stained T-shirt and he was a pig, and, to call himself Lord of the Land was kind of pushing it. And, he drove a car that was salmon colored. It used to be salmon colored, but the paint job is shot, and now it just smells like salmon. Anyway, it was just like jokes, and they laughed, and I won, and I was hooked.
Did you go back to Rage, or when did you start expanding your crowd?
Yeah, I remember the first song parody I ever did was at another show at Rage, and I did Madonna's Vogue as Vague. And I remember Julie Brown did her parody of the Madonna movie, and she did Vague, and a bunch of people, called me and said, Julie Brown stole your idea. And I was like, honey, if you're going to do a parody of Vogue, you're going to call it Vague.
Yes.
Now she's a friend of mine, and Julie Brown, not Madonna. And so the very first song I did was Vague, and it used to bring down the house when I did the list of names, because they were all sort of, C-list celebrities, and it was really funny. And I just have written a million song parodies since.
Since that time, were you still working day job, and when did you start being Jackie the Professional?
Well, that took a while. Yeah, I think I had a day job for quite a while. And then I think, I'm trying to remember, when I moved to New York, like in 96, to do Valley of the Dolls at Circle in the Square off Broadway, I think that's when I stopped having day jobs. I've been pretty fortunate. So, and then I stayed in New York. It was only supposed to, when the show closed, I stayed until 2000 or 2001. And then I came back to LA to write for a TV show called Hype. And so that's a day job, sort of, but.
Sure. As you were transitioning from the Jackie Beat, the poet at Rage, into the Valley of the Dolls, who was your drag influences, or who were your performance influences?
Well, my number one performing influence was Sandra Bernhard. And I think if you watch me, especially early stuff, you can really see it. There was just a weirdness and a kind of a quirky sexiness, and like an element of danger, and sort of a bit of a fuck you in there. Can I say that? Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. So she was my number one. They're all women, obviously. The funny women from SCTV, Andrea Martin and Catherine O'Hara, just that, I don't know, there's just something, that's why I wanted to be a woman. That's why I wanted the character to be female, because I feel like I'm throwing drag kings under the bus when I say this, and I used to say it all the time in interviews, but to each their own. But I just feel like in this society and in this world and in show business and in acting and in song, women can express themselves more than men. It's one of the few places where you're freer, and I always say a drag king, to me, always gets up there and puts up a wall of macho, whether you're doing a Sinatra character, Elvis, a rapper. The men always have sort of a wall up, and the women get to express themselves fashionably, emotionally, I can sing a sad song, I can be funny, I can have people wondering whether I'm serious or not. So I just feel like women are just more interesting. And for the longest time I said, if you're going to dress like a woman, dress like a Jewish woman in the 1980s. So that's what you're getting today, sort of going to the office.
How do you classify yourself? As a drag queen, female illusionist, an impersonator?
Oh, I always embrace drag queen, because queen means gay man. And even though now anybody can be a drag queen, which is great, I just think it's important to, when you're up there or, in the audience and I'm up there and you're laughing at everything I'm saying and doing, or almost everything, just remember there's a gay man under all this. It's not just a clown. This is a real person and somebody who, has lived through quite a bit, and a lot of this comedy is coming from pain. And you don't have to consciously think of that. I just feel it's important to have the word queen in there, which to me connotates a gay man, like a leather queen, a drag queen. But things have changed, and but I've had people tell me you should not say you're a drag queen. It's limiting. I've also written porn movies, really funny, campy porn, gay porn movies. And I've had friends in the business say, don't use your name, use a different name. And I'm like, I'm here to promote one name. And if somebody's watching a porn movie and all of a sudden they see that I wrote it,
they're going to buy a ticket.
You never know.
Very nice. All right, Jackie, thank you so much. We're going to come back and talk about what you're doing presently. We learned about your past right after this word. Thank you. All right, we're back with Jackie Beat, who told us all about her early life. But now we're going to learn about what she's doing present day, including coming to Stowe, Vermont next weekend for Winter Rendezvous. Jackie, where has your life taken you as a drag queen?
Wait a minute. I'm going to Vermont?
Yes, you are.
Just kidding, everyone. I can't wait. I'm sorry. What's the question? What am I doing now?
No. Where has drag taken you? I know you've traveled the world.
Oh my God! I just posted a picture. A friend of mine from high school sent me a picture of me at a cast party. We did South Pacific as the high school musical. And I was at the cast party and I'm all, it's 1979 or 1980 and I'm all new wave. So I jokingly said, I'm not gay, I'm new wave. And I just remember looking at that, and part of the caption was just, if you'd have told me that this person would travel literally all over the world, work with, Joan Rivers, Roseanne, Margaret Cho, Jennifer Coolidge, Sandra Bernhardt, Elvira, all my favorites. I'm leaving people out, but I just can't believe it, to be perfectly honest. And I have to say that I'm very proud that I just do what I do. And people kind of gravitate towards me because I live in Hollywood. And a big part of Hollywood is, always hustling to get that next job and getting an agent and, please love me, and auditioning. I don't think I haven't auditioned for many things. Most people just send me an email saying, I wrote you a part in this movie, or I think you'd be perfect for this part, or I had you in mind. I have done some auditioning, but for the most part, I just think it's important. Just do what you do, be you, and, just attract the people who are into it.
Now, you mentioned Joan Rivers, Roseanne, and many others. Did you write for them, perform with them? Tell me about that.
I wrote for all of those people I mentioned, and I actually toured with Roseanne as her opening act and did 7 sold-out weeks at the New York in Vegas. And, writing for Joan was one of the greatest lessons like when it comes to comedy, you just you can't be too precious. You just have to throw it out there, and maybe it's funny, maybe it's not. You have to, you don't want to embarrass yourself on stage, although I have, but in a writer's room, just say whatever. And if it's not funny, maybe somebody else will be, oh, that doesn't work, but it makes me think of this. And the whole point is just to get to, a joke or something funny. And Joan always said it's almost mathematical. You can always tell. You don't know why it works, but you can tell when it does. So,
what can one expect if they come see Jackie Beat in a show?
Well, number one, I hope, is to laugh. That really is my goal. Just sit there and kind of forget about your problems for a little while and laugh. And then I think there's layers. I think you might go, oh my God, like this song is funny, but the bitch can sing.
Oh.
Because I do sing live, and I think my voice is pretty good. And then, occasionally I'll throw something in that's a little painful. Like I really don't do it consciously. It's just every once in a while you got to be a little real, and that's the way you sneak the politics in, or the ugliness, because you have to laugh at the ugliness. That's how we have survived as a species, literally laughing. Nobody told Joan Rivers not to make a Holocaust joke. It's true. It's like, gotta stay alive, gotta laugh about it, gotta take the pain out of it. It doesn't remove the pain. It is a temporary respite. It's just, I think it's important to laugh at the ugly stuff. So it does worry me a little bit that now, things are so touchy.
Has that changed your approach to entertainment?
It has. It really has. You cannot say certain words. It's not about irony anymore. You can't get up there and do a song as a Karen, for lack of a better phrase. Like, oh, I'm an ignorant white woman. That's who's singing this song. You're laughing at her, not the people she's, thinks she's superior to. I mean, I used to do That's What Friends Are For, which was Dionne Warwick and, Elton John.
Gladys Knight,
Stevie Wonder. I mean, this was the AIDS anthem.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that as That's What Fags Are For, already a bad word. But the whole point was that this woman had her gay friends. And the song was about, I love gays, but stay away from my kids and don't do this. And I assume you're all bottoms. And I assume everyone has this. And it was really an indictment of that kind of woman who goes to, drag brunch, but her politics are all wrong. But now if I sang it, people just hear certain words and just, shut down. So
I have a feeling if you sang that this weekend at Winter Rendezvous, you'd get a good response for it.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I might just keep it light.
Okay. Yeah, we want to thank Michael.
Songs, there's no need to. I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm getting old. I was going to say there's no need to make people uncomfortable. That used to be my whole goal.
Yes.
But now, listen, I'm a laugh whore. I just want them to laugh, and I could put together the perfect show of just fun songs. So,
what's your accompaniment?
Oh, they're karaoke tracks. Okay. Yeah, honey, I'm not paying somebody. I want all that money. People are like, do you have a makeup artist? Hell no. I do this myself. I'm not paying anybody. I do have to pay for the wigs, but yeah, just karaoke tracks. They're pop songs. I only, I do If I Could Turn Back Time by Cher is one of my newer ones, believe it or not, keeping it current. But, and I asked myself, I'm like, if I could really turn back time, what would I do? So it's all about flossing my teeth and eating healthier. And then it gets more ridiculous and more ridiculous. And yeah, it's pretty funny. And just all sorts of, I do Tainted Love by Soft Cell as Painted Mug. Why You Can't Hug and Kiss Me, because I don't wake up looking like this. Painted Mug. Anyway, like I said, I've written thousands of song parodies, so we'll keep it light in Vermont.
Are you on tour now, or is this just a special trip?
Girl, I was just on my holiday tour, and I did, it was brutal. It really was.
Yeah.
It was just one night after the other, and like I got sick in Puerto Vallarta, and I tried to cancel the show, and they were like, "You sold too many tickets. Please don't cancel the show." So I went to this place and got like a B12 shot and rallied and did the show, and it was great. Came home and had to go to San Diego, and then then I had to do New Year's Eve with Sherry Vine, Heclina, and Billy Lamore, and that was 2 shows in one night, and then that was the end of it. Today I did have to get in drag, which is why we're doing 2 birds with 1 stone. I'm finally on your show because I'm all dolled up, but I had to go shoot some promo stuff for the Halloween drag extravaganza. I don't know if you saw that on Hulu, the Halloween special. So, so I mean, a day like today is easy because it doesn't, no traveling, no singing. Not that singing is difficult, but when you're not feeling 100%, it's a little rough. So,
well, Jackie, I'm so looking forward to seeing you in Stowe, Vermont this Saturday night for Winter Rendezvous. We want to thank Michael Wilson and Winter Rendezvous for bringing you to Vermont. He's given us the opportunity to see so many great stars like yourself, and just very happy to have you here.
Oh, thank you, sweetheart. And are you really going to be there? Or?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. I'm so excited that I get to meet you and
Yes.
get to see the show. And I'll dedicate a song to you.
Oh, I'd love that. I'd love that. Well, thank you so much, Jackie. We'll see you Saturday.
Thanks, honey.